Let us deal with the problems in circular motion. So we are beginning with the first problem. A particle moves in a circle of radius 1 centimeter. So radius is 1 centimeter at a speed given by v equals 2t, where v is in centimeter per second and t is in second. Find the radial acceleration of the particle at t equal to 1 second. Find the tangential acceleration at t equal to 1 second and the magnitude of acceleration at t equals 1 second. So if we are dealing with this kind of a problem, so we say that there are two forms of acceleration which will be available to us. So the first one will be the radial acceleration, which we also called as centripetal acceleration, which will be equal to v square upon r. So if the question is asking at 1 second, so at 1 second the velocity will be 2. So it will become 2 square upon r, which is 1, and we will obtain a value equal to 4 centimeter per second square. Now in the next part we are asked about the tangential value of acceleration. So the tangential value of acceleration can be calculated as dv by dt. So if we calculate using dv by dt, so we can differentiate the term of 2t with respect to t, and we will get a value equal to 2, which is equal to 2 centimeter per second square. So the tangential value of acceleration at any duration of time till v equal to 2t prevail is going to be 2 centimeter per second square. So if we consider the total value of accelerations, it is very important over here for the students to understand that the total acceleration or the resultant acceleration is because of the vector sum of the centripetal acceleration and the tangential acceleration, or the radial and the tangential acceleration which we have, and the two are perpendicular to each other. So during a circular path, so if I draw a circular path like this, so the value of tangential acceleration and the radial acceleration which we are taking towards the center of the circle, they are perpendicular to each other. So a radial and a tangential are perpendicular to each other, and if they are perpendicular to each other, so I can say that the resultant value is going to be 2 square plus 4 square square root, and the value comes out to be root over 20 centimeter per second square. Let us deal with the next problem. The bob of a simple pendulum of length 1 meter has a mass of 100 gram and speed of 1.4 meter per second at the lowest point in its path. Find the tension in the string at this instant. So if we draw this arrangement, so we are saying that the bob is attached from a fixed support like this, and while moving in its path, so at the lowest point of its trajectory, the question is stating that the bob is having a velocity v, which is equal to 1.4 meter per second, and the value of the length is equal to 1 meter. So the value of the length is 1 meter. So at the lowest point, we say that the weight is acting in the downward direction, that is mg, along with the force mv square by r. So mv square by r and the weight mg is acting in the downward direction, which will be balanced by the tangential force. So if we wish to write the value of tension, so I can write that T equals mg plus mv square upon r. So if we solve this out, we have a mass of 100 grams, so we can write it as 100 by 1000 into g. So we are taking g as 9.8 plus m, that is 100 by 1000, v square 1.4 whole square upon r, that is 1 meter. So if we solve this out, that is mv square by r plus mg, so we obtain a value equal to 1.2 Newton. So the value of tensional force in the string when the bob is at the lowest point with a speed of 1.4 meter per second is 1.2 Newton. Let us move to the next problem. A motorcycle has to move with a constant speed on an overbridge which is in the form of a circular arc of radius r and has a total length L. Suppose the motorcycle starts from the highest point. What can be its maximum velocity be for which the contact with the ground is not broken at the highest point? And the next one is, if the motorcycle goes at a speed 1 by root 2 times the maximum speed found in the part A, where will it lose the contact with the road? And the last part, what maximum uniform speed can it maintain on the bridge if it does not lose contact anywhere on the bridge? So if we are considering this kind of a problem, so if we understand this arrangement, so this is the over bridge the question is talking about, and it is moving in a circle of radius r, or the arc of radius r, and the total length is equal to L, which is the length of the overbridge. Now at the highest point, so at the highest point somewhere here, when the motorcycle is here, so if it is moving with a speed v, then it will be exerting a force mv square by r in this direction, that is away from the circle, and the weight mg is going to act in the downward direction. So if we wish to calculate for the contact not broken, so if the contact is not broken, then I can say the normal reaction just becomes zero, or I can say that mv square by r is balanced by mg, and from here we obtain v is equal to root over rg. So this is going to be my answer for the first part. Now in the next part it is saying, if the motorcycle goes at a speed of 1 by root 2 times the maximum found in the part A, where will it lose the contact with the road? So if we are considering this portion over here, so now we say that the question is giving us a velocity of equal to 1 by root 2 times of the previous velocity, that is root over rg. And if we consider that it loses at a point somewhere here, if we consider that it loses contact, suppose somewhere here, which I am referring as a point T, you can refer it in any which way, A, B, C, D. So if we consider this, so I say that the weight is acting in the downward direction, that is mg, and if this angle is theta, then this angle is also theta, that is alternate angle, and the weight component which will act over here will become mg cos theta. So mg cos theta is balancing mv square by r at this instant, that is at a point t. So I can write it in this way, that when it is at a point t, so it will be losing the contact only if the weight component, that is mg cos theta, becomes equal to mv square by r. So from here we can say that v square is equal to rg by 2, and if we put it here, so we get it as mg cos theta is equal to m v square by r. So we get the value of cos theta as half, that is theta equal to 60 degree. So at an angle of 60 degree it will lose the contact, or I can say that the distance which it is going to travel from the highest point, if we wish to calculate the distance it travel from the highest point, then this angle is 60 degree and this radius is r. So 60 degree can be written as pi r by 3. So this arc length, which I call it as delta L, can be written as pi r by 3 from the highest point. So on covering a distance of pi r by 3 from the highest point, it will lose contact over there. Now in the last part it is asking, what maximum uniform speed can it maintain on the bridge if it does not lose contact anywhere on the bridge? So the maximum value of angle which is possible in this particular problem can be ascertained like this, that if this is the length of the overbridge L and it is moving in a circle of radius r, so at this point it is subtending the maximum value of the cos. So if I call this as alpha, so for this point we can write it as that the weight mg is acting in this direction. A weight component which is equal to mg cos alpha will act here, and it must balance mv square by r, which is also weight component mg sin alpha, but this is of no use to us in the present context. So the chance of losing contact is maximum at the end of the bridge. So at the end of the bridge, I can say that alpha is equal to L by 2R. That is arc length upon radius. So the arc length is L by 2 and the radius is R. So alpha is equal to L by 2R. So we can say that for this portion it is important that mv square by R is equal to mg cos of alpha. So from here I can write that V is equal to Rg cos of L by 2R square root. So this is the answer for the third part. So let us deal with the next problem. Question number 4. In here the question is saying a track consists of two circular parts A, B, C and C, D, E of equal radius 100 meter and joined smoothly as shown in the figure given below. Each part subtends a right angle at its center. A cycle weighing 100 kg together with the rider travels at a constant speed of 18 km per hour on the track. Find the normal contact force by the road on the cycle when it is at B and at D. Find the force of friction exerted by the track on the tires when the cycle is at B, C and D. Find the normal force between the road and the cycle just before and just after the cycle crosses C. And the last part, what should be the minimum friction coefficient between the road and the tire which will ensure that the cyclist can move with a constant speed. So if we consider this problem, the first thing that we do is we obtain the value of velocity in meter per second. So 18 kilometer per hour can be written as 18 into 5 by 18, which is equal to 5 meter per second. And it is undergoing in a circle of radius 100 meter. So be it arc ABC or be it arc CDE, the value of radius is equal to 100 meter, and the mass of the cyclist which the question is stating is equal to 100 kg. So the things we will be frequently using in this problem is the parameter of weight, which is equal to mg. So we are taking g as 10, so which is come out to be 1000 Newton. And the next parameter which we'll be using is equal to mv square by r. So if we calculate this parameter mv square by r, so I can write it as mass which is equal to 100 into v square upon r, that is 100. So this is equal to 25 Newton. So these are the two parameters which we will be using more frequently in this problem. So if I consider the first one, find the normal contact force by the road on the cycle when it is at B and at D. So if I consider this by drawing a arc like this, so I can say that in the first part over here, the weight of the cyclist is acting in the downward direction, that is mg, and the force mv square r is acting in the outside direction. So at B, the reaction force at B can be written as equal to, and the normal reaction force is acting in the upward direction NB or RB. So I can say that the reaction force B is equal to mg minus mv square by r. And if we put the value, we obtain it as 1000 minus 25, that is equal to 975 Newton. Now at the point D over here, the weight of the cyclist, that is mg, is in this direction, and so is the value of mv square by r. So the reaction force will act in the upward direction, which is equal to rd, and the reaction force rd can be written as mg plus mv square by r. And for this we obtain a value equal to 1000 plus 25, that is 1025 Newton. Now if we consider the second part, the question is saying find the force of friction exerted by the track on the tire when it is at B, C and D. So now at the position B and D, there is no component of weight which is going to act. So the force of friction at B and D is going to be 0. So at B and at D, the value of friction is going to become 0. If I consider at point C, so I can redraw it in this way, that it is subtending an angle of equal to 90 degrees. So this angle over here will become 45 degree for C. So if we draw FBD for the weight of the body, so the weight of the cycle is going to act in this way, that the weight mg is in this direction, and mg cos theta or mg cos 45 is in this direction, and tangentially a force equal to mg sin 45 will be acting, which will be balanced by the frictional force in the opposite direction. So I can say that if it is moving with a constant speed, so at point C, at point C, I can say that the frictional force must be equal to mg sin 45. So mg sin 45 can be written as 1000 by root 2. So we obtain the value of frictional force as equal to approximately 707 Newton. Now if we come to the next part, the question is asking find the normal force between the rod and the cycle just before and just after the cycle crosses C. So if we consider this problem, so C is the point where the curvature changes. So C is a point where the curvature changes, and the component of weight is equal to mg cos 45 degree, which we have already mentioned over here. So before the curvature changes, the value of mv square by r will be acting in the outside direction, and after the curvature changes to the CDE, the weight, the component of mv square by r will be changing its direction. So I can draw another diagram to make you understand this. So if we again consider this curvature over here, so just before point C, so this is point C which we are referring to. So just before point C, that is somewhere here, the value of the weight is in this direction and the component of weight is in the inward direction, which is equal to mg cos 45, and mv square by r is acting like this. And after it crosses the point C, the component of mv square by r and the component of weight is going to become in the same direction, that is mg and this component, which is equal to mg cos 45 degree approximately, because just after crossing, and mv square by r will be acting in the same direction. So hence I can say that before crossing C, so if I look at point before crossing C, so I can say that the normal reaction force before crossing C, in before, can be written as mg cos of 45 minus mv square by r. So we have already calculated its value as 707 and 25 respectively. So 707 minus 25 will give us a value of 683 Newton, and normal reaction force after. So this is normal reaction force after. So it will become equal to mg cos 45 plus mv square by r. Again we already know the value, that is equal to 25 plus 707, so we can directly write it as 732 Newton. So these are the two parts which were asked. In the next portion it is asking what should be the minimum friction coefficient between the road and the tire, which will ensure that the cyclist can move with a constant speed. So in order to make sure that the cyclist is moving at the constant speed, and we need the minimum value of coefficient of friction. So the requirement for the coefficient of friction, or the desired coefficient of friction, we have to consider point C. It is because the point C is the point where the value of normal reaction force is minimum. So if we are solving at C, so I've already made the component of weight which is equal to mg sine theta in the tangential direction. So I can say that the value of mu n, that is the value of frictional force, must be equal to mg sine theta, which is equal to mg sine 45 degree. So we can write it as the value of normal reaction force before crossing the already calculated as 683 Newton. So we can directly put this value, and we can equate this with equal to mg sine 45 degree, which is equal to 707. So if we do this calculation, I can say mu into 683 is equal to 707, and from here we obtain the required coefficient of friction as equal to 1.037. So this become the answer for the last part. Let us move to the next problem. A particle is projected with a speed u at an angle theta with the horizontal. Consider a small part of its path near the highest position and take it approximately to be a circular arc. What is the radius of this circle? This radius is called as the radius of curvature of the curve at the point. Okay, so if we consider this kind of a problem, we can say that the particle is projected with a speed u and it is moving in a projectile path like this. Now at the highest point of the trajectory, so basically at all the points I can draw a circle like this. We can draw various circles, and the tangential component of velocity can be used to calculate the radius of curvature at different points. So at the highest point we are considering a circle like this. Now the velocity component at the highest point, if this angle is theta, so we can say that the horizontal component will become u cos theta, and the initial value of vertical component is u sin theta. So at the highest point, the horizontal component of velocity is equal to u cos theta. So now if we are considering at the highest point the vertical component of velocity is 0 and the horizontal component is u cos theta. So the value of the weight, that is the weight which is acting in the downward direction for the particle, which is equal to mg, must be balanced by the component m u square cos square theta upon the radius of curvature at that point, which I am calling it as rc. So from here we can calculate the value of radius of curvature at that point, which comes out to be, so at the highest point the radius of curvature for the circular path is equal to u square cos square theta by g. So this is how we calculate the value of radius of curvature at any point. If we have the tangential component of velocity, then we can balance the two forces to calculate the radius of curvature at any point. Let us move to the next problem. A block of mass m moves on a horizontal circle against the wall of a cylindrical room of radius r. The floor of the room on which the block moves is smooth, but the friction coefficient between the wall and the block is mu. The block is given an initial speed v0. As a function of the speed v, write the normal force by the wall on the block, the frictional force by the wall, the tangential acceleration of the block, and the last part, integrate the tangential acceleration to obtain the speed of the block after one revolution. So if we consider this kind of a system where a block is kept in a cylindrical room and it is rotating, so I can draw it in this way, that we are considering a cylindrical room like this, which is of radius r. So I'm drawing a central line. So the radius of this cylindrical room is r. The floor is perfectly smooth, but the friction coefficient is offered by the wall, and the friction coefficient is equal to mu. So we are fixing a block over here in contact with the wall, and it is given an initial speed of v0. So the initial speed is equal to V naught. So the first thing which we can say is, due to the speed, the force mv square by r is going to act on the wall, and the force which is equal to mv square by r will be balanced by the normal reaction force exerted by the wall. So for the first part, the value of normal reaction force by the wall on the block is going to be mv square by r. So now I can say that the value of the friction is equal to mu n, and if it is equal to mu n, so we can write the value of frictional force as equal to mu mv square upon r. The next thing that is asked is the tangential acceleration of the block. Now due to the frictional force, the block which was initially started with a initial velocity v naught will undergo retardation, and we can say that the value of friction is going to produce a retardation of mu mv square by r can be equated with mass into acceleration, and it will be with a negative sign. So we can say that the value of acceleration, which is actually retardation, the cause of retardation, will be equal to mu v square upon r with a negative sign. So this is the value of tangential acceleration of the block. Now in the next part, it is asking us to integrate the tangential acceleration to obtain the speed of the block after one revolution. So if we start solving for this part, so we can consider it in this way, that dv by dt, which was the tangential acceleration, so we can write it as v dv by ds, and this is equal to, we have already obtained it as mu v square upon r. So from here we can write this equation as ds is equal to minus r by mu dv by v. So the question is asking us after one revolution. So after one revolution we can easily put the value and integrate this particular equation. So now at the initial position the value is v naught, and maybe after one revolution the value of velocity will become v. So we are asked to calculate the speed of the block after one revolution. So we can say that the speed after one revolution is equal to v, and for the value of displacement we are saying initially it was 0 and finally it will be s. So I can write it as s is equal to minus r by mu ln of v by v naught. So this is what we obtain from here. Now over here I can put that the displacement, the s is equal to 2 pi r, because this is the distance which the block actually covered, and the value of frictional force was acting throughout this path. So we cannot write it as displacement, we have to write it in terms of the distance traveled, because the frictional force is non-conservative in nature. So we can say that the value is equal to 2 pi r, which is equal to minus r by mu ln of v by v naught, and from here we obtain the expression for v as v naught e to the power minus 2 pi mu. So this is the final expression for velocity that we obtain, that v is equal to v naught e to the power minus 2 pi mu. Let us move to the next problem. A table with smooth horizontal surface is fixed in a cabin that rotates with a uniform angular velocity omega in a circular path of radius r. A smooth groove AB of length L, which is less than r, is made on the surface of the table. The groove makes an angle theta with the radius OA of the circle in which the cabin rotates. A particle is kept at the point A in the groove and is released to move along AB. Find the time taken by the particle to reach the point B. So if we consider this problem, it is basically a very simple problem in which we are given that L is very less in comparison to R. So the value of the force which is going to act on the block is going to be m omega square r. So if we say that a force of m omega square r is acting, then it will be radially outward. So it will be directed radially outward. So I can say that if we draw a groove AB, which is something like this, inclined at an angle theta, so I can say that the force which we are talking about on the block is going to be radially outward, that is equal to m omega square, like this in the line joining OA. Now the component of m omega square r in the direction of AB will be the reason for the motion of the particle from A to B. So we say that the component is equal to m omega square r cos theta. Now since the groove is perfectly smooth, so we consider this force as the sole reason for the acceleration. So I write that the force which is equal to m omega square r cos theta will produce an acceleration A, and A can be calculated as omega square r cos theta. And the length of the groove is equal to capital L. The initial velocity is 0. So from here I can say that S, which is equal to L, is equal to ut, which is 0, half at square, so omega square r cos theta into t square. So from here we can calculate the value of time in which the particle will reach from A to B, and we obtain it as equal to 2L upon omega square r cos theta square root. So this is the value of time which we obtain for the particle to reach from A to B. Let us deal with the next problem. A car moving at a speed of 36 km per hour is taking a turn on a circular road of radius 50 meter. A small wooden plate is kept on the seat with its plane perpendicular to the radius of the circular road. A small block of mass 100 gram is kept on the seat which rests against the plate. The friction coefficient between the block and the plate is equal to 0.58. Find the normal contact force exerted by the plate on the block. The plate is slowly turned so that the angle between the normal and the plate and the radius of the road slowly increases. Find the angle at which the block will just start sliding on the plate. So for this particular problem, we are basically intending at the initial condition that this is the value of the central position, and it is joining with the block kept like this. So we are having the top view of the block. So when I say the top view, I mean to say that we are viewing the block from the top, and that is the reason why the car seats are also visible to us. So from this center I can say that a force which is acting in the radially outward direction, that is mv square by r, is going to act in this direction against the wall, as a result of which a normal reaction force will be exerted by the wall. So the first equation which I can write is normal reaction force is equal to mv square by r. Now the value of the velocity, mass and radius is given to us, so we can easily write it as 0.1. The velocity, which is 36 km per hour, is equal to 10 meter per second, so we write it as 100 upon the radius, which is equal to 50, and we obtain a force equal to 0.2 Newton. So the first part is asked the normal contact exerted by the plate on the block, so it is equal to 0.2 Newton. Now the question is the plate is slowly turned so that the angle between the normal to the plate and the radius of the road slowly increases. So if we redraw this diagram now, so in this context it is said that from the top view, if we view it out, then it is something like this. So now the value of normal reaction force will go on changing. It is because the normal the radially outward force, which is equal to mv square r, is acting in this direction, and the normal reaction force is acting in this direction, and it rotated by an angle theta. So if I break the component of this force mv square by r, so we can write this component opposite to the direction of normal reaction force as mv square by r cos theta. So if we write it as mv square by r cos theta, so the new value of normal reaction force normal reaction force new value can be written as mv square by r cos theta. And the tendency of the question is asked, find the angle at which the block will just start sliding on the plate. So the tendency of sliding will arise only when the value of mu n will become equal to mv square by r sin theta. So from here I can write the value of mu, the new normal reaction force, which is equal to mv square by r cos theta, is equal to mv square by r sin theta, and from here we obtain tan theta as mu, or I can write that theta equals tan inverse of mu, and the value of mu is 0.58 in the question, so we obtain from here 30 degree. So when the plate will turn by an angle of 30 degree, the block will start sliding. Let us deal with the next problem. A metal ring of mass m and radius r is placed on a smooth horizontal table and is set rotating about its own axis in such a way that each part of the ring moves with a speed v. Find the tension in the ring. So let us draw a ring arrangement. So we are considering a ring like this, and we are drawing the central line. So from the center, which is O, we are considering a small part ACB. So we are considering a small part which is A, C and B, such that the arc ACB is subtending a total angle of delta theta at the center. So which I can write as delta theta by 2 and delta theta by 2 from the center line as shown. So now we are considering something like this, that on being rotated, some tension will be generated in the ring. So at A we draw the tangential value of tension like this, and at B I draw the value of tension like this. Apart from the tensional force, the weight of the ring and the normal reaction force by the table is also acting on the ring while it is rotating on a smooth horizontal table. So the first thing that we do is we break the component of tension. So if we break the component of tension, so the tension is acting tangentially, that is making an angle of 90 degree. So I can say that this angle is also delta theta by 2. So this angle will become 90 minus delta theta by 2. So the component of tension in the inward direction is going to become T2 cos of 90 minus delta theta by 2, that is T sine of delta theta by 2 in the inward direction. Similarly, the component of tension at B will also be written as T sine of delta theta by 2. So now this value of the two tension is going to balance the radial component, that is delta m v square upon r, which will be directed away from the center of the ring. So if we write the equation, so we can write it as 2t sine delta theta by 2 must be equal to delta m v square upon r. So this is the expression which we can write from here. Now the next thing which we say is the mass of this segment ACB. So considering mass per unit length, I can write delta m, which is equal to m upon 2 pi r multiplied by the length of the segment, that is r delta theta. So the length of the segment is calculated as angle is equal to arc length upon radius. So we calculate the delta m, which is obtained as m delta theta upon 2 pi. So this is the value of the mass of the segment ACB. So if we put this value in the above equation, that is equation number 1, and this one is 2. So we will obtain something like this. So 2t sine of delta theta by 2, which can be written as m upon 2 pi delta theta v square upon r. Now for very small angles, we can say that sine theta can be approximately written as theta. So for very small angles, we can write sine theta approximately equal to theta. So over here, using this approximation, I am writing it as delta theta by 2, which is equal to m upon 2 pi delta theta v square upon r. So from here we can calculate the value of tension, which is equal to mv square upon 2 pi r. So the value of the tensional force in the ring is going to be mv square upon 2 pi r. Let us deal with the next problem. A table with smooth horizontal surface is turning at an angular speed omega about its axis. A groove is made on the surface along a radius and a particle is gently placed inside the groove at a distance a from the center. Find the speed of the particle as its distance from the center becomes L. So if we consider this in a diagrammatical arrangement, so we can consider something like this, that this is a smooth horizontal surface and it is rotating about its center with an angular speed omega. So we are considering a groove like this, which is made on the surface of the table, and a particle is gently placed inside it. So we are considering the position when the particle is at a distance x from the center of the circular table. So if it is at a distance x from the center of the circular table, which is rotating with omega, so the value of force which is acting in the radially outward direction is equal to m omega square x, and hence we can calculate the value of acceleration as omega square x. So from here I can write the value of acceleration as dv by dt is equal to omega square x. Now if we look at this expression, we need to frame an equation in terms of x, or the distance of the particle from its center, because that is what the information is provided to us in this problem. So we are using chain rule to convert this differential equation to for our purpose. So we are writing it as dv by dx dot dx by dt is equal to omega square x. So if we write it in this way, so we can frame it equation in this way: v dv by dx is equal to omega square x, and hence we can write it as v dv is equal to omega square x dx. So if we integrate both sides, so initially when the particle was kept at a distance a, the speed was 0, and the question is asking when the distance from center will become L, what will be the speed of this particle. So we can solve this integration, so and write it as v square by 2 is equal to omega square by 2 L square minus a square, and hence the value of velocity is equal to omega root over L square minus a square. So we obtain this expression for velocity when the particle moves at a distance L from the center.